All right, I do believe we are live, and good evening, everybody. This is Kevin Knecht coming to you from my home office here in beautiful Sarasota, Florida. I want to welcome you to our six-figure Hangouts broadcast that we have live here on Monday evenings at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. If you happen to be catching us on replay, you're in for a treat because I love watching replays because when you watch a replay, you can pause, you can stop and rewind, and you can take good notes and really get the information. And those of you who are here live right now, you're going to just have to pay attention. I've got a great broadcast set up for you here, and over on my screen I'm just checking to make sure I have actually everything turned on correctly because this is one of the first times I've done a live hangout like this. So I see myself 30 seconds on delay over there, so appreciate you hanging out with me here on Monday night, and welcome to all of the guests, welcome to all of the affiliates worldwide. We've got a great topic for you here tonight. I'm going to share my screen and get right to it here and let you know that I'm live throughout this, but you're going to be seeing my keynote presentation here as well. So I'm going to switch screens here, and we'll get right to the presentation here, and let me know you can see my page. And I'm going to go ahead and get started. And first of all, again, welcome everybody to the top 5 ways that your job is costing you 5 figures. Yes, 5 figures. We're going to get to that here momentarily. This is Kevin Knecht. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm broadcasting here from my home office in Sarasota, Florida. I want to welcome you to our special broadcast tonight. And this is a big number. 5 figures, $10,000 or more. Actually, we're going to triple that. Show you here in a few minutes how your job is costing you a lot of money every time you get in your car, get on a bus, get on a train, and go to work for somebody else. I want you to grab a pen and paper. I want you to write down your numbers, and let's see just how much we can save you tonight on this broadcast, all right? And I'm just going to keep the comments open here. By the way, we have a comments box below. So if you want to leave comments below, then, oh, perfect. Thank you, Tom. My friend Tom Farrell is watching the broadcast and making sure everything's going well here. So, again, if you want to leave comments below as you're watching on the Hangout page here, feel free to do so, but pay attention to the broadcast here because we've got a lot of good information to share with you. I think you're going to be shocked on this broadcast, as a matter of fact. You may want to have some smelling salts handy just in case, all right? So, a little bit about us. Melissa and I are a family of 5, as you can see here. I actually met Melissa way back in 1997 in an AOL chat on America Online. At that time, Josh was 8, Olivia was 4. Melissa was already a full-time mompreneur, which was very cool because I was not a dadpreneur or even any kind of preneur. So I really hit the jackpot when I met Melissa. We got married in Cancun in 1999, actually at a live event. Tanner was born in 2000. And if you look to the right there, that's actually a picture of all of us in Athens, Greece, at a business event back in 2004 with a company called Liberty League International. Some of you may remember that company. We've actually raised our kids around our business all of these years, and they're now 26, 22, and 14. Fortunately for Melissa and I, as we were raising kids, we were able to be full-time parents all of these years and be top earners in every company we've been a part of in our 17 years together. And all these years working from home full-time without jobs. So we've actually saved ourselves a heck of a lot of money and a heck of a lot of hassle by not commuting to work and doing daycare and things like that, which we're going to get to here in just a moment. But I have to tell you, it hasn't been all candy canes and roses and rainbows and unicorns. We too, some of you watching this broadcast tonight may be thinking, all right, Kevin, yeah, it's all great for you guys, but I've had all of this stuff happen to me. And all of these things have happened to us at one point or another in our 17 years together. We've had deaths in the family, divorce. We lost our lease one time. We had a car repoed. We've gone through surgeries, spousal spats over lack of money, and dealt with step parents and step kids and had sick kids. And we've made money and lost it. We went bankrupt in 2011 and we're disowned by our families for being so irresponsible. We've had shady business owners. I even had an unethical business sponsor last year, for crying out loud, who pulled the rug right out from under me with no notice. We've had all kinds of things happen, but we always managed to get back on top, which is awesome. So if you're in any or all of the above positions, if you're in a spot where you have no cash at all right now or anything else going on in your life, you're in the perfect spot because you can rise from where you are right now. And by the way, the cool part about this system is that one success led to another. For Melissa and I, we actually were very blessed when we got started back in 2012, after we were bankrupt, to go ahead and make $57,000 in 90 days, starting from zero. So we didn't have a pot to pee in, you know what I'm saying? We actually went from bankrupt to bank. And the cool part about this system I'm going to share with you tonight is that one success in our team led to another, more and more people on our team continue to make money, which has increased our income, as well as you can see on the screen here. As of tonight, we're a little bit over 2/3 of the way to $1 million with our current business. And again, if you haven't figured it out already, I like to have fun with these broadcasts. I just like to have fun, period. I was a radio broadcaster for some years in college, and I did it professionally for $5 an hour in 1993 and 1994. Special shout out to all the David Letterman fans for joining us on the broadcast tonight. But seriously, here's the thought I want you to have while you're looking at the screen here. If you're not totally having fun with what you're doing all day for a living right now, then please pay attention, because my wife, Melissa, and I can help you escape the doldrums and have you start having lots and lots of fun again. So now's the time when you pick up your pen and paper, and we're going to go through the top 5 ways that your job is costing you 5 figures. So here we go with number 1. Are you ready? Number 1, here we go. Number 1 is the commute. What you're looking at here is a normal weekday commute into downtown Atlanta. This was actually taken in October 2012. Melissa and I had just moved to Norcross, Georgia, outside of Atlanta, and it was 7:30 in the morning. It was one of the first mornings we were in our new house, and I turned on the TV. I thought, what's Atlanta news like? I'm a media guy. I kind of like to know these things, and I saw this picture on the DVR, and I was horrified at this traffic. This is normal traffic. I mean, it's a clear day. It's a school day. It's the middle of October 2012. This is what people do in Atlanta every day. Bumper to bumper, school day, mom and dad going to work, 2 separate cars, kids going to school and all that stuff. Now, I want you to think about the commute, because you may think, all right, stress and drama, I get that, Kevin, but I want you to write these numbers down. Now, look at this. Now, what if your average commute right now, I figured these numbers out. What if you're just commuting 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, each way to work, of course, that's 1 hour. Now, if you're looking at this traffic, it's probably at least an hour each way, for crying out loud. So I'm being very conservative here. So think about what your time is worth. This is really an important concept. If you make $40,000 a year, the average income in the United States is a little bit less than that. So $40,000 a year is about $20 an hour. You figure, when you add up $20 an hour times 50 hours times, you can times 40 times 40 weeks a year times 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year, that's 40,000. So $20 an hour if you're making 40,000 a year, right? So just commuting back and forth, an hour of your time each day is really worth about $5,000 in your pocket. But chances are your boss does not pay you to drive to and from work, right? Well, they should. I mean, it's your time. How much is your time worth? And let's think about the gasoline that you're spending. I just figured out maybe 20 gallons of gas a week, and that's very conservative. Times 50 weeks a year, it's 1,000 gallons of gas. And I included some dollars in there for oil and tires. Gas is about $4 a gallon, but you put in oil and tires and repair for your car, and it's $5,000. So right here, $10,000 just to commute to work. It's probably a lot more. Now, if both of you commute to work, what if it's you and your spouse? Then you double that. That's $20,000 a year just to go to work. Isn't that crazy? I mean, do you really think about that? No, you don't think about that at all. But when you start to think about it, people tell me all the time, Kevin, how can you afford to work from home? Well, Melissa and I save ourselves $20,000 right off the top by not even going to work. And there's one more screen I want to show you here. Do you have a car payment? Most likely you do. Well, the average car payment here in the United States is $482 a month. I just looked up that stat the other day. That's $6,000 a year. So now, for one person, it's $16,000 a year. Now, if both of you commute, that's $26,000 a year. Chances are you probably have a car whether or not you work. Like Melissa and I, we have a vehicle. But most families have 2, sometimes 3. That's $26,000 a year. And just today, I got to thank a friend of mine, Anna Z, up in New York. She reminded me that daycare is a big cost. I had forgotten about daycare. I just added this in the slide about an hour ago. Daycare can cost anywhere from $6,000 to $12,000, maybe $1,000 a month, $500 a month. So really, when you get this, if you have kids, if you have a commute, it's probably costing you $30,000, maybe even $40,000 just to go to work. That's insane. Isn't that really insane? Now, some of these other costs you may want to write down as well. We're going to get to this. The number 2 way that your job is costing you big time is exercise. I mean, let's face it. In this slide right here where I showed you, you're going to work in the dark. Half the year you're coming home in the dark. When do you have time to work out? When do you have time to put a plan together to learn how to work out? You really stop to think about that. Most people aren't getting enough sleep. They go to work in the dark, like I said. They come home in the dark half of the year. Who has time to work out 5 days a week? Here's a picture of me. I started a fitness program in 2012 when I moved to Georgia. This was my trainer, Marinez. I met with her twice a week for a year to get myself in shape and to learn how to work out. And I was able to complete my first 10K run here. Here I am with Olivia and Tanner. Tanner, by the way, is a whole head taller since I took this picture now. But it took me a while to get into shape, and I would have never been able to do that had I not had the ability to have time freedom. What does that cost on a daily basis to you? What's that cost on a monthly basis? What's that cost of not having good health? I find that people who are stressed out, not getting enough sleep, not eating right, all of the above, are spending a lot of time on prescription drugs, going to the doctor, going to the chiropractor. I don't have time to add all of that up, but these are some costs that are real costs that are costing you by going to work and being stressed out all of the time. Does that make sense? Okay, so by the way, I just put it as an aside. If both of you can work out together, you and your spouse, man, how priceless is that to be able to wake up and jog together in the morning or work out together? It is awesome. It is awesome, let me tell you. All right, the number 3 way that your job is costing you big time, eating right. I just alluded to this earlier. Having no time versus having time. You know, here's what happens at the end of the day. You know, it's 6:30, 7 o'clock, you're coming home, and you realize, oh my gosh, there's no food in the house. I've got to feed the kids. I'm just going to stop at McDonald's and pick up some extra value meals. And the kids will love me because I love McDonald's. I mean, if you do that 2 or 3 nights a week, and if you do that month after month and eating fast food all the time, what is that doing for the quality of your nutrition, right? Meanwhile, you know, Melissa and I, you know, we're home all day, so we can really think about what we want to have. I just put this picture in here because Tanner and I have this habit of men's salad. We like to make our own salads together. And so Tanner, you know, at a young age, learned how to make a salad on his own. Something as simple as having fresh fruits and veggies and lots of good stuff in there. And we put some meat on top of that a couple times a week, and we just have a lot of fun here. We make our shakes together. We have our snacks. What is that costing you by not having time to eat right? You know, and if you think about the extra cost of eating out, I mean, that could be $30 per fast food night when you bring home food for the kids. It might even be, you know, when Melissa and I take the kids out to eat, it's about $100 to go to a decent restaurant. You know, if we have a decent meal, you know, if you do that a couple times a month because you have no food in your house, man, that can add up pretty quick. That's a really big expense. You might want to write that down. Thing number 4, way number 4 that your job is costing you big time, grocery shopping. This one's not as easy to spot, but I want to spend some time with this as well. This costs you both time and money. Now think about the mad rush. I just talked about you stop at the fast food line, you stop at Burger King, you stop at McDonald's, you stop at wherever, and you pick up food. Sometimes, you know, look at the mad rush. You know, people hit the grocery store in our neighborhood here between like 4 and 7 p.m. I would never dare go to the grocery store because everybody's there. They're coming home from work. They're stressed out. It's like, oh, I got to find something to eat. And you look at all these aisles in this picture here. I hope you guys can see my mouse on the screen here. But look at this. You know, there are so many aisles and so much junk in the store now. It is just so ridiculous of what's really good and bad to eat there. I mean, it's really hard to find the good stuff. I mean, you look at this screen up here. This is a little bit small here, but these are some of the brands that we grew up with. Brands like Kraft and Kellogg's and Cool Whip and things that we thought were kind of fun and healthy because we had so many commercials that we saw, right? The trusted brands that we grew up with. But when you really take the time to do the research, here's what you're going to find. The box of Frosted Flakes in the food aisle today is not the Frosted Flakes that you and I grew up with in the 20th century. I mean, there's a lot of nonsense in there. You go start reading the labels. You don't want to be feeding this stuff to your kids, let alone eating it yourself. It requires time and energy to do the research, and more importantly, to shop for healthier foods. How do you know? You read a label, it says 100% natural. Is it really? Is that really good for you? What about GMO versus non-GMO? What about organic versus non-organic? These are things that people don't have time when they're coming home from work. They got to make a quick decision. And usually with the labeling here in the United States, the labeling is way off. So you're going to find that you bring home a bunch of garbage from the grocery store instead of all the good stuff. And over here on the right, you know what? I'll just say this, that if you can find a Whole Foods in your neighborhood or a Trader Joe's or stores like that, there are some others, Sprouts, that really focus on organic foods. You're really going to start doing better for your family. But when you have time freedom, when you're working from home and you can go to the grocery store in the middle of the afternoon and maybe take an extra half hour, you can really start to make some better decisions for you and your family. So on to thing number 5, eating out strategies. This is a big one. Your job is costing you big time. Eating out at the wrong time and eating at the wrong meals. You know, we talked a little bit about taking the kids out for a late dinner because you get home from work late. Now, something that Melissa and I discovered almost by accident all the years of working from home is that we can have a great time going out to eat breakfast in the morning at about 9 o'clock or 9:30 after everybody's already at work. Or we often go to lunch, a couple of days a week. We'll go at about 1 o'clock or 1:30 in the afternoon when all the workers are back to work. And we find that we actually enjoy breakfast and lunch out rather than dinner, because when you eat dinner, you have these big gargantuan meals at dinner. Of course, you come home, your belly's like super full, like it's a Thanksgiving meal. If you do that time after time after time, month after month, the weight starts creeping on. A pound here, 2 pounds here, 3 pounds here. A couple of years go by, you can add on the freshman 15 all over again. You know what I'm saying? So really, eating out strategies, working from home, you'll find that when friends of yours that work from home, you'll find they probably go out to eat breakfast and lunch more, where you actually have smaller portions. And you can actually have, some of the simple things in life, like being able to customize your meal because there's less people in the restaurant. Maybe you can actually sit in a booth instead of sitting at a table. You can have your favorite seat, have your favorite waitress. All these little things that are so important. Now, these are some of just the top 5 ways. I'm going through this pretty fast here because I want to spend some time. I got some bonuses for you here right now as well. And I'm going to go through these fast. I said, we're going to give you 5, but I'm actually going to give you 10 ways that your job is costing you big time. Number 6, staycations versus vacation. Now, you may not have thought about this, but I remember when I first started working jobs when I was 24 years old, I had no vacation. My first year I worked at the radio station at age 24. I got no paid vacation. If I wanted a vacation, I'd have to lose the money. So I just didn't take vacation. Second year, I got 1 week, big whoop. I think the third year, it wasn't even 2 weeks. It was like a week and a half. So there was no time. And I didn't have a family back then, but I could imagine if I'd had a family, I could never really take a family vacation. You know what Melissa and I like to do now? We like to take little staycations. We like to go away for 2 or 3 days at a time, monthly or bi-monthly, and go on these little trips here and there, close to home here, as a matter of fact. We live here in Sarasota, Florida. And then, we take some longer vacations. And because we have Tanner in a virtual school, we can actually take him during the school year without getting in trouble. That's another thing I didn't even include in the slides here. Staycations versus vacations. And something else I'll show you about this actual picture right here. This is Melissa and I. This was actually back in 2012 when we first, this was 1 month after we were bankrupt. This was like February of 2012, when we actually just took a day at one of the nicest resorts in the Phoenix area. This was actually in Paradise Valley. At the time, Melissa and I were living in a townhouse, and we hated it there. So we got away, and this is where we actually put together our plan to stop feeling sorry for ourselves. And we just felt so good being at this resort all day. And, typically you stay at a resort like this, and it's $300 or $400 a night to stay at the resort. Here's what we did. We went there at 9 o'clock in the morning. We had breakfast at the hotel. There's a Starbucks in the lobby there. And we just hung out in the lobby. We went out in the pool area there and just acted as if we were guests at the hotel. It was brilliant. We spent all day there from 9 till about 5. It was a day I'll always remember, because that was a day that Melissa and I decided that within the next 30 days, we were going to find a business where we could get back to making 5 figures monthly and just quit feeling sorry for ourselves. And sure enough, we wrote it all out that day. We started visualizing. We had an action plan. We decided we were going to get on the internet and find exactly what we were looking for. And lo and behold, we found it because of that little staycation. It's amazing. If you're in a space right now where you don't feel good about where you are, you can easily change that state of, you can easily change your mindset of where you are. Find a good hotel or find a good resort where you are and go have lunch there. Maybe just have Starbucks in the lobby there or something like that. But get out of your house and find a place that makes you feel powerful. That's really going to help you to start dreaming again, to start thinking about what you really want to have happen with the rest of your life, okay? So thing number 7, I just want to remind you, parents out there, that the kids grow up pretty fast. I know my kids are now 26, 22, and 14. And I can still remember when I met Melissa when they were 8, 4, and Tanner wasn't even born yet. And so I've taken a lot of time over the last few years to invest time with the kids. I mean, here we are in our home here in Florida recently. We have a lot of time where all 3 of them can kind of goof off together. And the cool thing is that they all spend a lot of time together. Here's Tanner and I at one of our silly men's breakfasts where we're just, toasting each other recently. And, Tanner just finished up a round of tennis lessons that he had during the day because the other kids are at school, so we could pay for tennis lessons. And, he's the only kid there, which is awesome. And here's another picture with the kids out to eat. So having quality time with your kids, when you work from home, and you can be like me, I'm a dad. I mean, I heard this years ago, and I'll pass this along. There are some dads watching here tonight, and moms as well. Here's something you might want to write down. When I found out that I could work from home and I didn't have to have a job where I could, had to be out of the house 50 hours a week, I decided that I wanted to be the dad who was home and be the primary influence in my kids' upbringing. And since I'm already on my soapbox here, let me say one more thing. For me growing up, I grew up in the 80s in Pennsylvania, and I had a great upbringing. Mom and dad both had great paying jobs. My brother and sister and I are all well taken care of. The one thing that was weird, though, was that there were a couple of years when I was in 9th and 10th grade. I specifically remember this. Mom worked the third shift. Dad worked the regular hours at Honeywell. I was in high school. Chris was in middle school, and Jamie was in elementary school. So all 5 of us went to 5 different directions each morning, which I thought was really strange. Now, of course, the 5 of us in our family, we spent a lot of time together, which is pretty cool. And Melissa and I certainly have been able to grow together as a couple, which is really a great perk, quality time with your spouse as well. So something to keep in mind. Thing number 8, I just want to remind you to enjoy the present. By default, you see these things on Facebook. You see these people stress out their jobs or say like, oh, happy Thursday. You're only 1 day away from being 2 days away from doing the same work you're doing right now. Ha, ha, ha. If you're working for the weekend right now, man, time's going to run out on you eventually. It's time to start pursuing your passions, don't you think? And living a life by design. The famous Bob Proctor, who was in the movie The Secret, we got to see Bob live a few years ago as well, a couple of times actually. He says the ability to effectively prioritize the activities of each day means you have to value your time. Think about that. I didn't learn this until I started working for myself. When I worked for somebody else, when I had jobs all through my 20s, I never valued my time because I was just, I used to goof off at work. I was in radio sales and all of that. I was on air before that. But I'll tell you what, when you start to value your time and think about what's your time really worth? Is your time worth $10 an hour? $20 an hour, $100 an hour. A rough estimate can be, if you work a 40-hour work week, if you want to make $100,000 a year, your time is really worth $50 an hour. Now, if you work a 20-hour work week, which honestly, most people, that's really all you do. If you have a 40-hour a week job, you think about how much you really work. You probably work half the time. You're goofing off, you're on the internet, you're at the water cooler, you're coming in late, you're leaving early, all this kind of stuff. So think about that. 20 hours a week, 50 weeks a year, that's 1,000 hours you're working a year. So if your time is worth $100 an hour, that's $100,000 a year. So maybe there's a good exercise to think about tonight. What is your time really worth? Write that down on your piece of paper right now. Hopefully you've got a pen and paper and are taking down some notes here on the broadcast. And again, if you're watching this on replay, hit pause right now and do these as I'm going through the presentation because I will be here when you unpause. But if you're watching live, you'll have to do it later, okay? Thing number 9, I just put this in to entertain myself, office politics. Let me tell you, when you surround yourself with a bunch of idiots, you become an idiot. Let's just face it. If you want to go from making $20,000 a year to making $20,000 a month, you cannot hang around with people who are making $20,000 a year. I ran into this when I wanted to escape the rat race back in 1994 through 1996. I was trying to work from home full time. I was still working at my job. And I told all my friends, hey, I'm going to be rich on the internet. I'm going to work from home. And all my broke friends were like, yeah, right, Kevin. Ha, 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 ha. All of that stuff. They just were so negative to me. I was so surprised. These are my friends. They were not in favor of me going for it in life. You're going to have to reevaluate where you're spending your time and who you're spending your time with. A good exercise to do tonight also while you're at it is to figure out the 5 friends that you hang out the most with right now. Maybe it's your coworker, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your parent or your son or somebody. Who are those 5 people? Add up their incomes, divide by 5, and that's probably about where you are income-wise right now. So if you're hanging out with the office coworkers, man, this is going to be deadly as you pursue how to work from home and how to turn your annual income into a monthly income. It's going to be tough. All right. And this is part of number 10, your circle of influence. Who are you hanging around? By default, these are the people we hang around. They're all in the cubicle just like us, right? However, by design, when you start traveling, you start attending seminars, and you meet like-minded people who are traveling from afar like you, man, it's pretty awesome when you discover people just like you who want to be home with their kids, who want to be able to travel, who want to be able to make a 6-figure income and enjoy life in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, right? Man, it's awesome when you can have that. So real quickly, if you're just joining us late here, let me go back through this real quick. Number one, the top 10 ways your job is costing you 5 figures. Actually, it'll cost you a 6-figure income eventually if you don't do something about it. And again, number one is to commute. We talked about that. Number 2, exercise, or probably lack of exercise. Number 3, eating right? Number 4, grocery shopping. You're probably not putting good stuff in your body. Number 5, you're wasting a lot of time eating out at the wrong times. Number 6, staycations versus that one long vacation that you have every year with your family, which just stresses you out the whole time, right? Number 7, quality time with your family. You know what? You don't have enough quality time with your family if you're working 50 hours a week and if you're separated from your spouse. Number 8, you probably are not spending enough time enjoying the present. Number 9, the office politics we talked about. And number 10, the people that you hang out with on a daily basis. So what's it going to be? You know, we're about 25 minutes into the broadcast here so far, and I've given you a lot of information. And my number, when I added up these 10 things, you know, what is my job costing me? My job was costing me 6 figures, not taking action, $100,000 a year. Not only for the actual costs, you know, the driving to work and all of that stuff and not eating right, not exercising and not having the right relationships, but for me, the opportunity to not be able to generate the income that I want so I can live life with my family. It was quite a wake-up call when I discovered this. And something happened at that moment when I discovered this. I wanted to change immediately. And this happened for me about the time I met Melissa. This was in my transition from 1996 through 1997 when I just really was fed up with the job. My business that I was in at the time I was only making about $500 or less a month. I couldn't figure things out. I had to make a new decision. And speaking of new decisions, here's one of our friends, Greg Honestchuk here. This is a cool guy. Single guy, 41 years old now, and he's from British Columbia. He was working a job for years that he hated in northern Canada, getting paid well, but he was away from his family, away from his friends. And so when he started working from home, he started working with us around the same time, 2012, and in his first 90 days, he was able to make enough money to be able to leave Canada and go from British Columbia to Colombia in Central America, South America. You know what I'm saying? And so he's had a great lifestyle for the last 3 years, traveling around the world. Here he is in Colombia, as a matter of fact, right here. So ask yourself right now, are you ready for a new decision? Because I'll tell you what, Melissa and I right now, we are here in the second half of 2015 to help create 10 new 6-figure earners, and I mean $10,000 or more per month, and help 30 people go jobless. Now, jobless, here's my experience, is that most people are able to walk away from a job if they have an online income of over $3,000 a month because, you know, as I just proved, you're probably spending that just going back and forth to work. If you can make $3,000 more per month, it's kind of like a swing of $5,000 to $6,000 in your cash flow when you think about it that way, right? Now, Melissa and I have already helped 3 people create 6 figures here, and we're on our mission here to create 10 more here. So when I got restarted in 2012, because for years, Melissa and I were working offline businesses, and we still did that. But when we restarted in 2012, we hit the reset button. Here's what we were looking for, 3 things, and maybe you're looking for some of these as well. Number 1, we wanted a way to be able to work from home so I could actually see my family. You know, we wanted a 6-figure income so we could stop worrying about a lack of money and actually save and actually invest like normal adults instead of most of the broke people here in North America these days. And we also wanted geographical freedom. Like I said, Melissa and I were from Pennsylvania. We wanted to be able to escape winter and have eternal summer. We did that for years in Arizona. Now we're doing it here in Florida. But, you know, you can actually live outside the United States and Canada. You know, we have people on this broadcast here tonight from all over the world. And isn't that cool when you can have that freedom of traveling wherever you want, whenever you want? So we're going to get into that here right now. So I want to share this with you guys here. We of course found it here. And we're going to we got to work right away. I mean, we had to. We were broke. I mean, we did not dilly-dally around. Once we were ready to go, we got started. So somebody watching this broadcast tonight, if you're in that spot, perfect, because we're going to show you how you can get started and how you can get to work right away and how you can have results here in the next 30 days. Okay? So let me show you how I'm going to show you the money, just like Tom Cruise here, right? Everybody see that movie? Remember, show me the money. I love that line. I'm not going to do it here. And again, we went from bankrupt to $10,000 or more per month within 90 days with this system I'm about to show you here. So again, your results will vary from ours. Our results are not typical. If you want to see typical results, then go see the average earnings disclaimer, which is ipassearnings.com. Okay. So again, we're going to show you how we went from bankrupt to bank, $57,000 in 90 days. We did it without anybody calling us. And so I want you to put this picture in your head right now. Think about a business online where nobody calls you. It's not this deal where like you have to be on the phone all day. Nobody calls you. You don't need to pester your friends or family. You don't need to, you only talk to people who want to talk with you. I mean, think about that. That's a fun phone call to make. When people join your team and they're expecting your phone call, that's pretty fun. You'll never have to sell anything directly. You can choose to work only when you want, where you want, and only as much as you want, right? You get to decide the kind of life you're going to have. And if you want to take the day off, hey, you can. You can take the day off tomorrow and go to the beach for the day. And then, tire your kids out, put them to bed about 8 o'clock. And if you want to spend time on your business at night, you can still make money from 8 to 11 p.m. It's a beautiful business. And just to be clear, you don't have to be naturally gifted online. You don't have to be a money-making genius. Just use the tools that are part of this smart system. I actually made this PowerPoint using this system. This is actually a copy and paste. I didn't create most of this on my own. I just simply copied and pasted. It's really simple. So the truth is, you can look like a pro too and remain a regular person. And just to remind you, these are some of the things that are important to me, and maybe this will kind of trigger your thoughts of what might be important to you. Here's our family. We actually got a puppy for the first time recently. After 44 years, I finally gave in and said to the family, all right, we can have a puppy. Melissa and I love to travel, by the way. And, we do a lot more traveling now because we have the finances in place to be able to do that. But our biggest passion is empowering others right here. This is one of our recent mastermind team events that we had. It is just awesome to see people become free. And just a little bit more about us. We live here in Sarasota, Florida. This is our home. We have a life of time freedom as owners of our own business. I mean, years ago, I just dreamed of an ability to live in Florida. All those cold winters in the dark. Some of my friends back in Pennsylvania may be able to relate if you're watching this on replay and it's winter where you are. And this is a view that we have right now from our patio early morning every day. This is a typical morning. I take my laptop outside. I have a cup of coffee. I can just hear the birds. I can see the deer running by and our puppies outside playing in the morning here. And I can actually get some business done here on my internet connection right in the morning. But here's the best part. I mean, yes, we've done well so far. But there are so many regular people, just like myself, who are experiencing tremendous success using this smart system. And many of them are people who have never previously made any money online. So I'm going to show you some of these thousands of testimonials that people have given for this system. For example, here's our friend Kimberly Denise. Some of you guys know Kimberly. Kimberly started this business as a single mom, and now she's about to be a mom again, and she's got a great business partner now that she's attracted through this business. Not typical results. You don't always meet your spouse in business. But in her first week of being online, she made her first commission. Here's Sarita from Perth, Australia, all the way in Perth. She now has a residual of over $3,400 a month, and she just crossed 6 figures, a rising star here in our company, learning the same things you'll be learning. We can literally go through these for days. Here's Landon Stewart. Landon's actually 23 or 24 years young, just had his first $10,000 a month. Pretty awesome. And here's another friend of ours, John, over in the UK. John just turned 22 and had a $50,000 month. Not typical, but here's what's possible when you get to work and you live in mom and dad's basement, Here's Aaron Rashkin, and a 7-figure earner here in the system. Here's Alicia, who's a single mom, who's making money, and she's really good with writing blogs as well. She's somebody you ought to look up. She really knows her stuff. And like I said before, people are having so many results. I mean, there are a lot of people having results right now. Amazing results who have never had results before. I mean, people who have been struggling online until they found this system. And now they're plugged in. Now they're getting commissions. And to me, I've got to be honest, there's nothing more exciting than seeing people successful for the very first time. So here's what you should be doing next, okay? Watch the presentation on the next page and get started as quickly as you can, okay? So again, this is what you should be doing next. So pay attention if you haven't been paying attention. Watch the presentation on the next page and get started as quickly as you can. When you get inside the system, you're going to want to do 2 things, okay? And by the way, these are some screenshots of being inside the system. Watch all the videos and don't skip anything. Remember how I said earlier, some people make 6 figures and some people don't? The people who watch all the videos and don't skip anything, which means the people who follow all the directions, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, just like on this screen, those are the ones that have results, okay? It teaches you everything. This system is going to teach you everything you know, everything you need to know about how to really make money online. And it's so simple that anyone can do it. However, I'm going to offer a disclaimer right here. Most people, many people, some people are not going to follow directions because they think they know better. They can take shortcuts, but just follow the system, okay? I'm so confident that when you get started in this system and start following the process, you're going to see success just like so many of these people, like Ella right here. I can't promise you anything because, of course, your results will be your own. Now, here's Lawrence Tam, $1 million earner right here. But if you're serious, I know you can do it. So I look forward to helping you once you decide to get started with the system here tonight. In fact, I'd like to make you a special offer. So pay close attention because I really can't offer this to everyone. Now, see that button on this page right now below the video? See that button right there? It matches. Look at that. Clever, right? It matches. Click here to learn more. When you click that button, you're going to be taken to a presentation that's going to explain exactly how the system can work for you. So I want you to watch the presentation on the inside, make a decision about whether or not this system is right for you. And when you decide to get started tonight, it's going to be me or the person who invited you here who's going to set up a call and personally walk you through step by step exactly how the system can work for you. And you'll actually work with a business coach as well who's going to be assigned to assist you in this process, all right? But we can only do that when you click the button right now. That button right there, click here to learn more. That button below on your screen, watch the presentation and decide to get started now. So go ahead, click the button on the inside and I'll see you, go ahead and click the button and I'll see you on the inside. I want to welcome you to the team, okay? It's Kevin Knecht here from my home office in beautiful Sarasota, Florida. I appreciate you being here with me tonight. I want to thank all the affiliates who plugged into tonight's presentation and trusted me with your incredible subscribers. Man, I'm excited for you right now if you've made a decision to start. I'll personally see you on the inside within the next 24 hours. Pull out your credit card right now. Have it on your desk, okay? Pull out your credit card, have it on your desk while you click the button and learn more and experience our incredible online system. Enjoy the video, folks. I'll see you shortly on the inside. Bye for now. Kevin Knecht signing off.